Well, as far as conversations go, this is going to be a little bit sloppy. I don't know what to call it. Sometimes conversations while biking are awesome, at least on my end. I think I've only had two. One was actually on a trail, and I think the other one was just on the way home not too long ago, on the way back from a trail. And this will also be on the way back from a trail. However, the setup I'm rocking today with the chesty isn't great for stability, as I've learned, and I need to readjust some things because it's bouncing all over the place. I just hit myself in the chin with the camera. Anyway, all right. I wanted to discuss something that happened about 3 or 4 weeks ago now, and I wanted to discuss it in a more timely manner, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, and other conversations took priority. But about 3 or 4 weeks ago, my partner and I went to the last showing of, oh man, Hamlet, not Macbeth. I'm pretty sure it was Hamlet at Galt Gardens. I don't remember the name now of the theater company, Shakespeare Players group, but yeah, they did a whole bunch of outdoor productions, and we caught the last one that was in Galt Gardens, and it was very interesting and thought-provoking for a lot of reasons, and not much of which had to do with the content. Okay, we hear you. Not much to do with the content of the actual production, but the location and the events that transpired while the play was going on. So, at Galt Gardens, man, this thing is, I can feel it bouncing all over the place. That's awkward. Anyway, it kind of, this is a horrible segue for like a very serious topic. But I guess this is what it might feel like to have breasts and not wear a bra, because the weight of the camera and the way it's strapped on is over my chest, and it's just bouncing around everywhere, and it feels weird. Anyway, pardon me. So, if you don't know Galt Gardens in Lethbridge, it is a park that has room created for community events, and community events are held there. Southern Alberta Art Gallery is on site. There's a water fountain, like splash parky type thing. There's places there to sit and eat with like picnic table, park bench type stuff. There's a built-in kind of theater with cement, like cement steps, and there's a lot of grass and green space in the heart of downtown. Now, because it is located centrally in downtown, it attracts a lot of individuals who don't have another place to go, who aren't working, and who may not have a permanent address. Other not so diplomatic titles for these folks may be vagrants and homeless, and there's more, but I don't need to go that far. Anyway, it is a central hub, and this group of people populate Galt Gardens like by a major majority, versus people who would be using the space as it was intended. I think it's safe to say that the way that it is being used the majority of time is not how intended. I think it is a space for everybody, but everybody that is adhering to the city bylaws and laws of the land, municipal laws, etc. Which means, you know, this isn't a place to sleep, nor be publicly intoxicated and do drugs and fornicate and be drunk and I don't know. It's weird to say like loiter, because like you're in a park, you're lounging around. It's different than loitering, but when you're there the whole day and night and whatever, unsavory individuals or actions by just people, without giving people a label, I think their actions kind of define themselves at times, but I don't think that was the intended use. I can very confidently say that. So, sometimes when there are events there, like Pride Fest, it's kind of fun and cool, and there's a real sense of community there, and I don't think these folks that are stationed there and maybe engaging in illegal activity necessarily bring the vibe of that down. I think it's cool, and a lot of the times they join in and feel part of that community, and I think it's a good experience for everybody. But there's other times, such in the case of Hamlet or Macbeth. I thought it was Macbeth. I confused the two stories. I've read them both in high school, and I honestly forget which one is which. I'm gonna say Hamlet, man. Anyway, this theater production, this drama, this play, it was a problem because there's something going on here that is not a party. It is an event to be viewed, and an audience that is participating by being attentive and quiet and enjoying what is being presented to them. However, the park was filled with individuals who were not there for that same purpose. And fair to say that many seem to be under the influence and not in their the influence of, I should say, drugs and or alcohol, or just drugs. Alcohol is a drug that would impair their judgment, and they are not in complete control of their mental faculties, and some of them, even though sober, may not be as cognitively able as others, and that's fine. But that's, I don't know, people sometimes need assistance or some extra care and support, and a lot of these people don't get that, and that's really unfortunate. The thing is, it created an interesting discussion between my partner and I, because at one point she wanted to leave, and I was like, okay, that's cool, like I get it, like that's fine, we can get out of here. But she stuck it out, but it was very uncomfortable, because there were numerous times where there were outbursts by these folks that were there but not there to see the show. A lot of loud screaming. I think one was a woman yelling that she wanted her pipe back. Maybe someone had her crack pipe. I'm not sure what kind of pipe. She didn't specify. And security started walking towards her to try to deal with the situation, and then she just started yelling at them and cursing them out. Meanwhile, people are trying to watch this show. And there were other incidences too, where people just walked like right on, basically on the stage, just walked right past because they don't care. And it just became this interesting thing of like, we're there to see this show, the privileged, right? The cool thing I thought was that there is this opportunity to bring this show to people who would not have the opportunity to see it. To be like, hey, you want to enjoy some free theater? It's pay what you can. You can just hang out, enjoy the show, and just, yeah, have a good time. We're providing this free service and this art, and hang out and just ask that you be respectful. And that's the problem, is that isn't being adhered to in that space on a daily basis, every single day. There's security there for a reason. Sirens are always there for a reason. Sometimes it's health issues, but again, because people aren't respecting the laws and the space, the green space that is public, and it is not for your private usage of legal or illegal substances and or sleeping and other things that happen there. So it was this interesting thing of like, should they change the venue? And it made us feel really weird. Now, my partner and I are not upper crust, highfalutin folk. I certainly did not even come from a middle class background. She did, I would say, a little more than middle class, a little upper class. But that's not who she is. That was just her environment, her values and stuff. I don't know, whatever. The point is, we came from two different socioeconomic backgrounds, but we are very similar in our values and our social priorities, I guess. And we both felt weird about this thing. We didn't have exactly the same feelings, but the thing was that my point is that we aren't sticking our noses up at the fact that, like, I think that some people wouldn't go there. They're like, hey, the play's at Galt Gardens, never mind, I'm not going. This should be at the Yates, or this should be over here or here. And we were like, oh, this is cool, like an outdoor show, let's check it out. I like theater, and I like seeing theater in a more comfortable setting and with a lit stage and props and stuff, but this was just a cool way to experience the show. So it was humbling, and I'm not sure how many people that would have been, season ticket holders at Yates or wherever were there. I don't know, because a lot of people want to support the arts at a community level, at a ground level, and they know this is a way to do that, so they can have more professional productions and things in the future. Anyway, it became this thing of like, well, maybe they shouldn't have had it at this location. This isn't the proper venue, because it wasn't just, like, I have been focusing on the folks that tend to reside at Galt Gardens, but there's a lot of factors. The weather, traffic, idiots with horribly loud exhausts, and then there's sirens and whatever else that are disruptive to the show. And the fact that the show was uncomfortable and challenging isn't a bad thing by itself. But those are the elements you'd expect, and that becomes a thing of expectations, right? I should have had different expectations. That's on me, Weather was one that we knew. It's outside, weather's gonna change. The fact that there's traffic out there, that's a factor you can't control. But as far as the other people go, you want to assume that people are going to be respectful, and that's the wrong assumption to make. And I mentioned in more detail this kind of thing when I spoke about accepting chaos. I think it was last week's conversation, actually, and how I need to be better at accepting chaos, because I'm not good at it. And this is a scenario where it's like, well, you accept the chaos or you don't, but you have to acknowledge the fact that it's going to be there, and what are you going to do about it? How are you going to feel about it? Figure that out before you go in. Anyway, was it an appropriate venue? I like the fact that, again, they're bringing it to the street, it's outdoors, it's in the place that it was built, like that area was built for events such as this. So it should be able to happen there. And you are providing this free service, this fun thing for everyone, but including people that would normally be left out. Unfortunately, these people that normally would be left out don't care about this production. They have other priorities and other concerns, and legitimate ones, and also just no desire to adhere to rules and regulations and social norms, and sometimes, in some ways, decide to flaunt their lack of care on purpose. So it was just this interesting dynamic. Because yes, this is the space for it, but the space has been claimed by other people at this point. And the city is not in control of that area. I'm not proposing solutions right now, but, well, maybe I am. I think that obviously that if people have a place to go that is convenient and comfortable, etc., they would rather be there than left in the elements. But the shelters aren't a safe space here, nor are they super clean and spacious and whatever. And even with certain accommodations provided, I think you still will have people gathered in the park. However, it is also, at this point, tradition. It has become tradition's the wrong word, but it has become a routine, a regular space for these gatherings, these folks and these activities. And at some point, in order to change that, it would be very difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. But the expectations have been, when you've let things go for decades and become worse and worse and worse, you've lost control. And you might need to do something more extreme to gain control back. But extreme doesn't necessarily mean negative, because extreme could also be investing in better housing opportunities, better shelters, better programs, social programming for folks. I really like the phrase, a hand up, not a hand out. I really like that. Anyway, it just became this weird thing where, and my partner and I, like I said, we didn't agree 100%. But I strongly feel like, hey, this is what the space is made for. This is what it should be. This is who should be in the space. And they are intruding on this space. If they're sitting there, and I keep saying they, and I think it's rude, but if these folks that we've been talking about are not there to enjoy the show, they shouldn't be there. It'd be incredibly disrespectful if someone just came through. I mean, someone, let's even just say like a person of very high social status came through drunkenly and started yelling. We would all be like, what are you doing? Like, get out of here. And it shouldn't be any different. That again, if you want to hang out and just enjoy the show like everyone else, or ignore the show completely, fine. You're not being disruptive. I don't feel uncomfortable or would request your absence from this arena of theater. But in the case where you're adding to a very uncomfortable atmosphere, or you are creating the uncomfortable atmosphere, when that is not what the space was created for, then it's different. It's just a whole different thing. Just wanted to check that was still recording. I just realized the screen times out. Oh no, it doesn't time out. It's just dim. My bad. Sorry. Anyway, I know my battery is kind of low. Kind of to wrap things up here, I guess it's just that it becomes this thing of you know what to expect, so don't expect it to be otherwise. And I think that it's just interesting because they have claimed this space. And it felt like we were intruding on their space. And that's where, my partner was a little bit uncomfortable, and so was I. And it felt weird to be like, and again, that discomfort isn't a bad thing. I think that it was good. It led to this conversation and led to some introspection about who we are and how we act in public places and how we feel about at-risk and less fortunate people, and how we would deal with those situations when we come face to face with them, because it's different in theory than it is in practice. But it was an interesting dynamic of me feeling like, and others I'm sure, that these people were intruding on this space for this event because of the way they were acting, not because of their physical presence, but how they let their physical presence be known. And the fact that it felt to the audience, or at least to my partner and I, that we felt uncomfortable because it felt like we were intruding on their space. And it's interesting how they have come to claim that space, and for the city to let that happen. And culturally, there's just been a shift of what that space means and how it's used, and I feel like it is not a fight, but it's not everyone's on the same page at all. It seems like there are two major sides to this, and there's other ones as well. There's a gray area, obviously, on the spectrum, but feels like there's two major sides to this this thing. This public space and how it should be used. And I don't have the answers, but I thought I'd throw the question out there, or at least the scenario.